Hello, Maurice Baynett, Technical Director at ecoMaster here again. Today, I'd like to talk about shading. In fact, this is the first of a two-part series because there's quite a lot to consider about shading. Well, summer's coming and we know it's going to get hot, so it's really crucial that we keep the sun off the windows, so that we can be more comfortable inside. So there's three ways really that we can shade. The first is we can still get quite a good result with some materials if we actually shade internally inside the glass, but it's better if we shade externally, and it's best if we shade externally and right away from the glass. Let me show you why. So you look at this diagram. On the left hand side is a representation of a regular external awning blind and one with dark color. It's fairly typical actually. So what happens here, the sun is on the blind, heating it up and heating the air behind it. So there's not very much airflow behind an awning blind because it's pretty close to the glass and it's almost touching the glass at the top. So the air heats up, and that heat actually is conducted through the glass into the home. Not only that, but the material of the blind gets very hot as well, and so that radiates heat inside. In fact, if you stood inside that window, as indeed I have done at times in clients' homes, you can actually feel the radiation coming from the blind. Now contrast that with the other side of the house where we've got a light coloured blind suspended from the eave of the house. So the blind is much further away from the glass, it's very well ventilated, and it's a light colour. So the material's not going to get as hot, there's no heat build up behind it because it's very well ventilated, and the distance to the glass is much greater. What that all adds up to is far less conducted heat through the glass and almost no radiant heat through the glass. So you can see that there's really great advantage in shading externally but away from the glass. Let's have a look at some implementations. So here's one exactly like that. The blinds are fixed to the veranda beam, they're on stainless steel wires, and they fix down to the hand railing by the look of it. So still provide lots and lots of shade. There's some gaps between the blinds, so there's airflow there's airflow under the railing, there's airflow at the end of the veranda, so it's unlikely to be a huge heat build up there, and they're a long way from the glass, so the radiant energy is going to be quite small as well. So quite a good implementation there, I think. Here are some other interesting ones. Here we can see a retractable roof. So this runs out on a belt and you can run it out as far as you want to have the level of shade that you want there. At the bottom we see some fixed solar battens. So they are fixed at a certain angle in order to let maximum winter sun in and completely block out the summer sun. Okay. And over here is an interesting implementation by a client. He's made this himself. It's pretty good, I think. It's a veranda roof that's adjustable. So by pulling the rope there and fixing it on a cleat, he's able to fix the roof open at whatever angle he wants. And by letting the rope go, the roof automatically closes and is weatherproof. So a really good implementation there. Here's another simple one, just some stainless steel wires and some really light gauge tarpaulin material with some eyelets kind of making folds in it. It's pretty simple and I think reasonably effective. Maybe it should have been a bit wider. You can see that the sun's coming in underneath it here onto this glass. So had it been wider, or maybe a second implementation next to it, would have made it ideal. So there are some ideas about how you can shade your windows away from the glass, because that is actually the best way to affect the shading. And next time we're going to be having a look at shading on the glass and in the glass. We'll see you then.